So in this section, we'll continue our production deployment and set up nginx. Nginx is, remember, our reverse proxy. It's not our web server. Our web server is Node. Our nginx reverse proxy is essentially going to sit in front of our Node server and help us with load balancing and other security functionality. So the first thing we'll do is install nginx. And we do this with the sudo Amazon Linux extras install nginx 1.12. Nginx is already included in our Linux AMI, so we don't need to download it from a source. We can just install it here from our Amazon AMI. And I know these commands are a little hard to see, and as mentioned, I'll leave every single command in an article that you can just easily copy and paste. So please just bear with me if it's a little bit hard to see on the terminal. So after installing nginx, we can cd into our nginx directory. So it's going to be cd/etc/nginx. And if we do ls, we see all of our nginx files here. Feel free to look around and play around with these files, but the main one we're going to be concerned with is the nginx.conf file. And this is a file we need to set up to make our nginx work with our React Express project. So nginx.conf is just a configuration file that sets up our nginx project. And we can edit this file with the nano text editor. So let's go ahead and run this command and begin editing our nginx.conf file. So the first thing we can do is get rid of the root directive in the server configuration. And the root is just saying the root of our project. So right now we have it to usr/share/nginx.html. This is the default page you see with nginx that you set up. So this is obviously not what we want. We want nginx to work with our React Express project. So we can go ahead and delete this root directive right here. And then for the server name, we can just say server1 for now. Now we can go to the location / and then add a few commands here. So the first one, we're going to make the root our React Express project, which is going to be /react_prod/build. So again, remember, this is our React project. So this is saying for every /route, the home route, we go to the root React directory. After that, we do index, and then this is going to be our index.html file. And then try file $URI/index.html. This is saying try our index.html, and for every subsequent route, also go back to our index.html, because again, our React is a single page application. We're not going to be requesting a separate HTML file for a route change. So this is why we do this. We basically just keep redirecting to our React project. And this is what allows us, a user, to navigate within our React app. Since every route is basically just redirecting to the index.html file, and since our entire React app is one HTML file, our app will just keep serving that same file, which is how we allow users to use React Router and navigate within our app, within a single HTML file. And this is how it's done. But now you may say, well, we have a React app that we need to navigate within, but we also have our /API calls. So how do we take care of that? Because we're not going to use our API calls with the React Router, right? So we do this with this setup right here. I'm going to show you. So we actually declare another location directive. This time it has a route /API/ and then blank. So this is saying if the location is /API and then /whatever, our API call, we run this code in this directive. And this is boilerplate code. This is essentially how we set up our API calls with our React app. So again, this is just boilerplate code. We're doing a proxy request to our Express app from our React app based on the routes. And the only thing we have to edit here is the proxy pass directive. We do HTTP and then our IP address that we have for our EC2 instance. And you also have to pass in the port we're using as well. So this is essentially going to take our public IP address with the non-standard port, which is 5010, which is not the standard port everyone else uses for HTTP and accessing websites. So what this is going to do is going to pass it on to the default port 80 for HTTP, which will allow users to access the website as normal. And we can go ahead and save. So we can now test our app to see if it works by using nginx-t. And this doesn't work, so remember to always use the sudo command as well. That's how we get permission. And you can see right there, it says the configuration file /etc/nginx/nginx.conf syntax is okay, test is successful. So it did work, awesome. And after editing our nginx.conf file, remember to always restart nginx. And we do this with the sudo systemctl restart nginx. And you have to do this, otherwise your changes are not going to be reflected in your app. And then I'll also show you the command for accessing the error logs. And this makes debugging really easy. And the command is just sudo nano /var/log/nginx and then /error.log. And we don't have anything here because we haven't made any errors with our nginx, but if you do have errors, they'll be listed here. And this will allow you to easily debug your nginx code. So this is it. We can now test our app. Let's go to our public IP address. And as you can see, we are at the public IP address using the standard port. We're not on port 5010. We're on the regular HTTP port, and our app is working as usual. Awesome. So this is a good start. We'll continue building on this in the next section.